would like to ask every single one of our 500Ks to share with the crowd and talk to them about their most memorable XanGo moment.
XanGo moment was the arrival in Phuket, Thailand with my son over here, with that elephant greeting us. That was amazing. So every one of you should be premier and go to Phuket, Thailand.
When I finally went to the 200K trip and my dreams came true, I traveled with my 3 best friends. 4, actually, Sandy, Armando, Chuck, and Marlene Blinken. And I had my kids with me. Only in one's dreams will you have that. And only in XanGo.
So we're in this meeting in Utah, and I look around the room, and there's a whole bunch of people in the room. And I'm saying to myself, how are they going to choose who's going to take the trip? So I leaned over to Joe, and I put my arm around him, and I said, Joe, more than 16 businesses are going to make the trip. What's your tiebreaker? And he looked at me and he said, well, what do you mean by a tiebreaker? I said, well, more than 16 are going to make it, so how do you determine who's going to go? And he put his arm around me and he said, Sandy, we're going to take everybody that makes it. I ran out of that room and I started calling everybody on their cell phone.
Sandy called me after about 2 hours sitting with the founders, and she said, Ed, we have a problem. I said, what is it? I think I like what I see. And she says that I said, don't do a thing. Come home. Don't sign anything. We'll talk about it. That is my most memorable moment.
When we left there, we left in a completely different frame of mind than when we got there. And so we left there with surety. We left there positive. We left there, we knew we were going to do this. We knew we were in the right place at the right time with the right people. And we drove home, and I just have to tell you this one thing. We had to drive from Utah to Colorado. Now, those of you that haven't done that, there's a huge expanse of space with no cell phone service. Okay? I thought I was going to have a heart attack before we could get back into cell phone service, because I couldn't call anybody until the next day, and I just knew that somebody was going to call all of my friends and get them in between then and the time I could get home. You talk about a sense of urgency.
We finally found a company that pays us what we think actually we're worth, or actually more than what.
Speak for yourself.
Was our very first visit with Joe Morton when we were 1K distributors, about 2 weeks into the business. And you know, here was a guy that was talking about network marketing and how he loves it, and I thought, oh, I guess I forgot that I loved it, you know. And then we got together with Joe after, and he graciously agreed that if we were to hang around until everyone else in the room was gone, that he would sit down and spend some time with us. And there's about 5 of us there at the first meeting. We were 1Ks, and we spent about an hour and a half with Joe just talking to him about the industry. And you know, in 20 plus years of working at home, all the other companies we were in, I had never once ever sat down on an informal basis with any founder or even executive in any network marketing company.
And tell me how their lives have changed. My good friend Leonard Hall once said to me, you know, before I started XanGo, my wife Ann and I used to wonder how we could live on our Social Security. Now we think, where should we live? Because of XanGo, we can live anywhere and do anything.
Every day there's a XanGo moment. We have over 450,000 people in our downline. Every day I hear stories, I get an email, I get a phone call that XanGo's changing somebody's lives in a huge, huge way. But there are some moments that really stand out. One of my greatest moments was getting my husband involved.